Okay, let's talk about flat Earth or not flat Earth. Is it flat or is it not flat? I think it is not flat, and I'll tell you why. People who do think it is flat, what are you thinking? You're thinking it is a firmament and it has a dome on top, and okay, what's underneath if it is a sphere? And you seem to think if you go here, there's the North Pole, there's the North Pole. The North Pole is everywhere here, and the South Pole is everywhere there. To me, it doesn't make any sense. The only way the Earth could be flat is in an alternate dimension because enough people collectively believe it is flat. This wrinkled piece of paper on the Flower of Life, perhaps you can more easily see, you can look through it. Like maybe here there's a flat Earth in this dimension, or in that dimension, there's your flat Earth, there's that guy's flat Earth. It's an infinite world of possibilities. It's also possible that we are, like in the movie The Matrix, we're just a brain with a tube attached to us somewhere, and this is all a holographic reality. Sure, it's a possibility, but I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. I am a free thinker. There's not many of us, I realized. I do not follow anybody. I've always used my own head and came to my own conclusions. I have a brain that's bigger than this earth and a heart that's bigger than it also. And I was also Sekhmet in a parallel past life. It's both the same because time is not linear. And as a cat, I can tell you, I would have pushed something off the edge of the earth if it was flat. Any cat would have done that. You can also sail all around the world and end up at the same place you started, and that only happens with a sphere. A sphere has two poles. There's the South Pole and the North Pole, and yeah, they're both off limits. There's crazy stuff going on at the poles. So yeah, I think there's maybe portals at the poles. I think there's portals in many locations on Earth. In fact, I know there's portals on many locations on Earth. There's many stories of people disappearing and emerging 30 years later, and they haven't aged a day. And they used to be called fairy stories, and in this day and age, they're called alien abduction stories. So there are many portals on this planet, not only at the poles, but I do believe there's a lot of military stuff going on at the poles that is top secret and related to aliens, because aliens have been on the Earth for a long time. Reptilians also, I do believe, are definitely involved with the Davos group and the elites. That's just my belief, and I'm pretty sure about it. These are the Platonic solids: earth, fire, air, water, and ether, okay? All of these shapes, okay, are made up. They all exist in patterns inside of the Flower of Life, in various patterns. They're everywhere, okay? Everywhere. There's all kinds of patterns. So I think that along with the Flower of Life, the Earth is mostly oxygen, and like our bodies are mostly water. I think the Earth would be mostly an icosahedron shape that is toroidal. So a torus has a vortex at the poles. So I think it's more this kind of shape, but with all the other Platonic solids, because we have all 5 elements, and the Merkaba is light. So also the Merkaba field. We have all of these sacred geometry fields within and around the Earth, interconnecting everything. And that's why we have all these paradigms, as above, so below, and just acupuncture in your ear. You have the whole body, things like that. The Fibonacci sequence mathematics. You have patterns everywhere in Earth. And like I said, I don't follow anybody, but I do listen to a lot of people from all angles. I make my own decisions. All I do is research my whole life for decades, 24/7, because I love knowledge. I love knowledge about natural law, truth that is indisputable truth, like objective truth, and subjective truth. I love learning, and I love sharing knowledge, And it kind of bothers me, the whole flat earth concept, but it is also great that people are stretching their mind. People who don't even take a second to consider it are the most closed-minded. But people who really believe it's flat and like just because they're following somebody and refuse to believe that it's round, they're also closed-minded. They're just following somebody. So everybody needs to be leery of following people and need to start, rationalizing logic in their head. Another thing about why, what was I going to say? The earth is not flat. I totally forgot what I was going to say. There's a whole other point. Oh yes, if you take a drop of water, because the earth is mostly, it's earth, air, fire, water, but there's a ton of water on it, and there's water in the air, and there's just oxygen everywhere. So take water and you put it on a hydrophobic piece of paper and cut it with a hydrophobic knife, you will end up with a drop, and you can cut that drop like infinitely smaller and smaller. It gets harder and harder to cut, but it's always a round drop. It's round. Nothing on Earth is flat. No natural object. And look at the grains of sand on the beach. Galileo, hello. And some flat Earth people also think dinosaurs didn't exist because they're following somebody. And the dinosaurs don't exist. That came from Christian fundamentalists who don't believe that the Earth is old at all, and who also don't believe in a lot of archaeological digs. So we know that dinosaurs did exist because, well, even the Bible said dragons existed. So if dinosaurs didn't exist, then dragons didn't exist either. So, I mean, all these scientists are paleontologists, rather, dug up dinosaur bones and studied them under a microscope. And there's, tens of thousands of paleontologists on Earth doing this all the time for, generations. Dinosaurs definitely exist. You can go and see the skeletons in the museums. I don't know why people are saying dinosaurs didn't exist. And there's not a single whistleblower out of all the paleontologists saying that dinosaur bones were fake. There's another clue that dinosaurs were real. So let's look at, again, flat Earth and round Earth. Is there any astronaut whistleblowing claiming that the Earth is flat? I have not heard of one single whistleblower claiming that the Earth was flat. So that there is another evidence that the Earth is round, because there are more astronauts, more people have been to space than there are perfumers in the world, okay? And there's a lot of people that make perfume, but there's more people who have been to outer space and who have seen Earth from outer space, and not a single one of them says that the Earth is flat. It's just like, it's so ridiculous for me. I had to make this video because just look at the Platonic solids. This is mathematical law. This is the building blocks of reality in all its forms: earth, fire, air, water, ether, and if the star tetrahedron Merkaba is light. So, maybe it's just me because I'm on the higher realms. I think the Earth would mostly be this shape mixed with the icosahedron, water mixed with ether, the dodecahedron, and the flower of life would be the predominant shapes, which are three-dimensional. I mean, these are just little magnets, so I'd imagine this in a three-dimensional shape. And then another person who I was listening to, who is a Magi, and he's the real deal. He had a vision of the dark Earth grid that they are trying to put on to replace our God grid, and it looks like cubes. I'm trying to find the cube that just fell. It looks like black cubes with a lot of triangle action around it, like a few cubes superimposed with all these triangles. And this is the evil dark matrix that, that the dark forces are trying to superimpose on our flower of life that comes out of our heart, that is unstoppable if you know that it exists. So it's really no match. I have gone into meditation and I have seen the dark grid for myself, and it is nothing in comparison to the actual sacred geometry that is God-given. And if you go in meditation and you see the dark sacred geometry dark forms, just go ahead and dismantle those things. I notice, like, where they're triangle shapes at the juncture, it's almost like they're pipes connecting, and you can break them at the corners. So I invite all light workers. I know we've been working a lot on gridding and reinforcing light work grids, but I ask light workers now, especially at eclipse time, where the dark will be very visible right inside the light, today at noon. You go into meditation. If you feel called, check out the dark grid and dismantle it. Target the corners, and we can just dismantle this stuff in no time, and then hopefully everybody will get to see the truth.